Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about the answers to reading quiz chapter 1. So in this chapter you basically learn about what economics is, and you learn about scarcity, opportunity cost, you learn about division of labor. So I highly recommend first read your chapter before taking any reading quiz. So let's start with the first question. Which of the following examples represents the relationship between division of labor and production? So we need to find out in sentences that represents a division of labor and production. So the right answer is B. A nurse takes patients' vital signs while the doctor focuses on diagnosis so that more patients can receive care. So the nurse deals with one job, one task, and the doctor deals with another task that represents the division of labor. Second question, scarcity is a problem because there aren't enough resources to produce all the goods and services people want to purchase. So scarcity is the main problem we study economics because we have limited resources and we need to find a way to produce enough goods and services for everyone. And because of scarcity, we need to make decisions in production. We need to make decisions in any actions we take. And scarcity says that there aren't enough resources to produce all the goods and services people want to purchase. Now the next question is about the distinction between micro and macro. So microeconomics deals with questions related to individuals, right? Micro, the name as the name suggests, individuals. Macro answers the questions related to everybody in the economy. So when we say macro, we talk about inflation. Inflation is the increase in prices and it affects everybody in the economy. When we talk about microeconomics, then we talk about change in the price of the beef. For instance, change in the price of the beef does not affect everybody. If you are not eating beef, you don't care the change in the price of the beef. So let's look at the answers. The size of the US economy shrunk by 7%. It affects everybody, therefore it's a macro. Inflation in the US increased by 5%. Inflation is the increase in average prices. It affects everybody, therefore it's a macro question. Federal government lowered corporate tax rates in 2019, so this affects again everybody in the economy. But the beef prices, the price of beef increased by 15% last month due to a cyber attack on a major beef processing firm, is a micro problem. Question number 4. This question is about understanding fiscal and monetary policy. So fiscal policy is the use of tax and government spending. And monetary policy, which we will learn in detail, is the use of interest rate and the amount of money supply in the economy to deal with recessions and inflationary periods in the economy. Someone criticizes the government for increasing interest rates but approving the increase in government spending. So they are criticizing governments. As you see, if they are criticizing interest rates, it's a monetary policy, and praising the government, fiscal policy, because it's about government spending. Question number 5 is about circular flow diagram. If you remember this circular flow diagram, we have the firms and we have the households, and firms are selling goods and services to households, goods and services. And in return, households were paying the money, which becomes a revenue for the firms, right? In the outer circle, we know that households are selling their labor to businesses, and in return, firms are paying wages. Okay, so we have goods market, we have market for labor, resources, okay? In labor market, households are seller in labor market. In goods market, firms are seller, goods market. And households are buyer in goods market, they buy goods and services. And firms are buyer in labor market because they are buying the labor service. The circular flow diagram describes the flow of money and goods and services between households and the government. No, that's not correct. It's between households and the firms. How firms and households carry out economic activities through the market for input or factors of production and the market for goods and services. That is actually correct. The flow of money from the market for goods and services to the market for inputs or factors of production. This is not completely describing the whole picture. How firms control the activities in the labor market in order to ensure, again, there's not only labor market, we have two markets, goods and services market, and the labor market or factors of production market. And the circular follow diagram describes both. Question number 6, a good economic theory captures this essence of economic concepts and facilitates their understanding. A set of mathematical equations representing economic behavior is a detailed representation of reality, which is not correct. Economic theory is not a detailed representation of reality. It simplifies the reality so we can understand the relations. Must contain a complete representation of real economic events. That's not true. We try to explain as much as we can. So it's a mathematical equations, but not always. Sometimes diagrams can be helpful too. So it captures the essence of economic concepts and facilitates their understanding. According to circular flow diagram, households are sellers in the labor market. So therefore, there's only one answer, and buyers in the goods and services market. Number 8, in market economies, most decisions are made by, as you know, everybody is a participant in the free markets. So therefore, it's the interaction of buyers and sellers, and therefore it represents the citizens and firms, right? Households and firms get to the marketplace and make deals, and that's happened in the private markets, and the government in command economies make the decisions. So gross domestic product, which is GDP, is the value of total production in the country. It's not imports and exports. It's not ratio of the exports relative to total production. It's not the degree of globalization. It's the value of total production in a country. And number 10, which of the following elements demonstrate the degree of globalization? A low export to gross domestic, it actually shows that the country is closed. That means we are not selling goods to foreigners. High levels of trade and exchange, yes, it shows the degree of globalization. Rapidly growing gross domestic product for several countries, it's not related to this statement. It's not related to globalization. Large underground economies, if you have large underground economies, that's going to make your GDP look like low, but again, it's not related to globalization. So these are the answers for Chapter 1 reading quiz. If you don't understand any part of this chapter, you can just post your question or email your question. I'm going to respond to your questions. Thank you for watching this video.